Let's pick my August TBR together. For that, I want to go through a few different prompts, do some dice rolling as well, and of course check a few of the challenges that I'm currently in my reading journal. And with that, I think we can pick a few great books, so let us get started. First off, I want to pick a few different books from my lovely TBR jar here. As you can see, they have different colors, and that's because there are different types of books for each color. So we're gonna start with something that has been on my TBR for a bit. So we're gonna pick one of these violet grayish ones, and let's see what this one says. The first book that I need to get on my TBR for next month is The Essex Serpent. Let me just quickly get that one. So this book has been on my TBR for a bit. Not too long, but at least it's not very new, so that's why it falls in that category. And I really love this cover, so it was just speaking to me when I saw it in the store, because it's so beautifully designed. And of course also a serpent, of course, is an animal, so that was something that interested me right away. And it sounded really, really interesting. And basically it is about a woman moving to the countryside of Essex and having to find her new place in life there. So it's a nice historical fiction, and I'm not quite sure how many fantasy elements it has, but it will be interesting to see. So let's put this on my TBR. Next up, we're gonna pick one of the yellow ones. And the yellow color is for priority reads. So those are any books that are on my priority read list. And this is quite great, actually. The book that I'm gonna go for this one is Stadtland Fuchs. And I've already talked about that, but let me just grab it. So this is Stadtland Fuchs, and it's a German book about our local animals that have been getting used to living with people and living in cities or villages. So that was something that I really wanted to get to, but somehow I just couldn't fit it. And now that it is on my TBR for next month, I'm really happy because I might actually start out with this one quite soon. So I like it so far. Next up, we're gonna pick one of the green ones, and those are new books that I have just bought this year. And it's quite interesting to see, because this book is one of the books that I got at Eurocon, and one of the ones that I hadn't heard before, so I'm not sure if you know of it, but let me grab it. So this is City of Day, which is a really cool fantasy setting, basically, and I really liked the author when I saw him in a few panels at Eurocon, so I decided to pick this one up. And basically it plays on an island where people go and live or trade during the day, but at night they all go back on their ships and hide away from the island, because there's said to be ghosts that will basically kill you if you stay overnight. So of course our setting is that two characters are forced to stay overnight, and then we'll see how they survive. So that sounded really intriguing to me as well, and I'm quite happy that this one got picked, because I really want to go ahead and read it. So yeah, let's put it on the TBR as well. And finally, we still have the white ones, and these white ones are library books, because obviously I read a lot from the library. If you've seen any of my videos, you probably know. So I decided to put in a few prompts for my library books as well. And because I can't always tell for sure which one I will get from the library, I had to go with quite broad prompts, because that makes sure that I will be able to get one book that fits this prompt in time. And for the challenge read, That basically means that I need to find a book that I need to get from the library that fits for one of my challenges, and I'm gonna try and get it in the coming month. So let me quickly check that out. In terms of challenges, we of course have a few different ones that we could go for. So let's maybe try and figure something out that works for multiple challenges. And one of the challenges that I'm currently in the middle of is the R Fantasy Bingo card. And I just did a video on the first 5 books that I completed for this challenge, but I still have quite a few more to go for sure. So I have a few books that I have already read that are still on here because I haven't done my end of month for July yet. But in terms of library books, we could go for either Epic, which would be great because that's a short story collection. And that is also the book that I want to read for the anthology of authors prompt for Herkiet. So that would be getting down something for 2 challenges. Or we could go for Feybound, which is a romantasy that is also on my priority list. So that would again count for at least 2, maybe even 3, because I think I can use it for the one-word title for Herkiet as well at this point. And we also have Shadow Speaker, which is the first part of a duology by a Nigerian author, so that would be counting for author of color, and that would of course also be quite a good pick here. And I've just checked with the library, and Epic and Feybound are both available within about 2 weeks. So as soon as I get the next book in, I can place a hold and I can probably get one of the 2 for sure. So I'm just gonna see which one is more likely to be available, and then I'm gonna pick that one. So either one of those 2 is going to be my library book that I pick for this challenge. In terms of the library, though, I will certainly be reading one more book, and I'll put it right up here, and that is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. You might have heard people speak about this author because she also wrote Wild Dark Shore, but because she wrote something about wolves and a team of biologists that are trying to reintroduce them into the Scottish Highlands, that sounded like the perfect story for me to read and see if I actually like her writing before I get into waiting for the library copy for Wild Dark Shore, which is a very long wait. So that's why I'm also really excited to get to reading that one, and that one is just on my TBR like that because it will become available very soon. With that said, we have picked one of each color from the TBR jar, and that means that this is all that I'm gonna pick for now. I'm gonna keep the other books around for next month, and they're all books that I kind of want to read, so I think that will be just fine. But we still have a few more books to choose, even though I'm not sure if I will get around to reading all of them. But we do have some more prompts as well to get me going on my challenge journey, and I decided to do this a bit differently and not just pick one, but I will actually use the die to get one for me. And I decided, because I have quite a lot of dice for my role-playing games, I decided that the bats are the best choice for this one because I just returned from holiday and I visited a huge bat cave while I was there. So this sounded like a great idea. So we're gonna go from 1 to 6 and let's see which number we get. We get the 3, so that's this one. And this is another priority read. I, of course, put this in here because I really need to go pick up on those ones. And I'm quite happy because I already have at least one priority read on my TBR. So this one is going back into this form because I can, of course, reuse these ones as I will have more priority reads and more reads for my challenges next month as well. And just in case you don't know what I mean by priority reads, let me quickly show you. That's kind of my 26 in 26, but I do know that I won't be reading 26 books from a list. So that's why I decided to only do 10, and that works out really nicely. And I haven't been keeping up too well with it, as I noticed when I looked at my stats in my half-year update. So there's still quite a lot of reads open, and one that we do have that will be read hopefully next month is Stadtland Fuchs, which we just looked at. And we also were talking about Feybound, which is on here as well. In case you're wondering about the different colors that I'm using here, these ones are the ones that are from my physical TBR, and anything with this kind of coloring is from the library. And to be honest, I would be really interested in getting to read Shadow and Bone or Air quite soon as well, but I'm not sure if they're available, so let me quickly check if I could get them. And again, both of those books are also at the moment not available, but should be available quite soon. So maybe I'm going to go and pick up this Lee Bardugo book. I've already read something by her and I really liked her writing style, so I figured I want to go and have a look at the Grishaverse. I haven't watched the Netflix series that was done on these books, but I've heard quite a lot of good things about the whole universe and the series that she writes in there. So I'm really interested to go into that, and I actively don't know a lot about what's going on in there, so I can't really tell you much about the plot, but in any case, I'm excited to get there. And in terms of my alternatives, in case I can't get that from the library, because you never know for sure, I think I might be interested in picking up The Spell Shop, so let me just grab that one as well. And The Spell Shop is by Sarah Beth Durst, which is also an author that I've read quite a few stories from that I really enjoyed. And as you can probably tell from the cover, this is a very cozy fantasy book. And I just basically got it for the vibes, to be honest, and because I knew the author. So again, I don't really know too much about what is happening in there, but I think it will be very much like cozy fantasy and chill vibes, and that is fine for me. So I'm gonna put this one on my TBR, but as I said, if I can get Shadow and Bone, I'm gonna read that one instead. All right. So with that, we already have my book TBR done. Let me just grab the ones that I have here. And of course, they're now in the wrong order, but that's okay. So we have The Essex Serpent as one of the books that I've had on my TBR for quite a while and that I really need to get to. We have Stadtland Fuchs as one of my non-fiction books that I also am really interested in reading and really need to get around to and take the time to read it. Then we have one of my newest books, which is City of Day, that I just picked up this month still at Eurocon and that I'm really excited to get into. And then we have either The Spell Shop or maybe Shadow and Bone as a nice, interesting fantasy read that goes for my priority list. In terms of the library, we're gonna also get either Epic or Feybound, depending on which one I can get my hands on, to have that one as another read as well. And that's the books for this month. So let me just put them aside for a second. And then we need to also choose one more thing that I want to read. If you've seen my video on Eurocon, then you already know that I picked up quite a few lovely magazines while I was there. And now I have these 4 new magazines that have short stories and are either sci-fi only or fantasy and sci-fi. And I'm really, really interested to get into those. So I've decided to pick up my nice little die with the dragon on it to figure out which one we're gonna start with for August. So we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4 and see what the die says. And I don't know how well you can see it, but it landed like this. So the 2 is up there, and it's not gonna focus. There we go. The 2 is up there, so that means that 2 it is, and that one is the Weltenportal magazine. So this is a German one, and we can have a quick look inside to just see what's in there. And as you can tell, because this is quite universal, we have a few stories in here, we have a few interviews as well, and then a few articles and book reviews as well. So I think it's quite a nice combination of things. And of course it is a bit thicker than the nature journals that I tend to read. So that's why I wanted to plan it right away from the start of the month so that I can get started quite early and make sure that I just end up reading a little bit now and then. So yeah, this is the magazine that we're going with for this month. So I think I'm all set up to get reading. I'm really interested to see how far I'll get this month, and I hope you enjoyed picking out these reads with me. So yeah, this is it. This is what I'm gonna try and read for this month, as well as of course the library books. So do let me know in the comments if there's anything that you're most interested in and really want me to get around to. And also, if this sounds interesting to you, and if you maybe haven't heard of all of these books and are interested to see how I like them, please do think about subscribing so that you don't miss my wrap-up video at the end of August, in which I will tell you more about all of the books that I managed to read and will let you know if they're good enough that you should pick them up as well. So yeah. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice rest of your day and go find something nice to read as well. Bye!